Heads of state are a lot like video games. Some are good, some are bad, some downright terrible. But what happens when the two collide? Video games actually have a long history of portraying presidents, and those portrayals really run the gamut. Sometimes video game presidents are based on real people, sometimes they're gun-wielding badass forces of nature, sometimes video game presidents are pure evil, other times they're just train wrecks. With that in mind, and putting all politics aside, we present this list of the all-time worst video game presidents. President Ronnie, Bad Dudes vs. Dragon Ninja. Ronald Reagan was president for most of the 80s, and there's no more 80s game than Bad Dudes, so this crossover makes sense. But that's about the only thing that does make sense in this game. First off, President Ronnie is kidnapped by ninjas, which leads to the question, where were the Secret Service? Apparently, they took the day off, so it's up to you and your fellow bad dude to rescue him. Leading to the infamous phrase, are you bad enough, dude, to rescue the president? Once you do, however, the president rewards you, which is great, but not with a medal or a cushy ambassadorship. No, he invites you out for burgers, which is certainly nice, but really, we worked hard for this. President Abraham Lincoln, Fight Club. When Abraham Lincoln wasn't freeing slaves or killing vampires, he was apparently kicking some major ass in underground fight clubs. Yes, Honest Abe is an unlockable character in this terrible fighting game because he's the one person Tyler Durden says he'd most like to fight. But that means you have to beat the game with every character to get him, which means you have to play a lot of this crappy game. President Shinra, Final Fantasy VII. President Shinra was the really archetypical corrupt authority figure that we see in so many games. We first see him in Final Fantasy VII preparing an ambush after Avalanche attacks the Sector 5 reactor. After some banter with Cloud, because why not chat with the president if you get a chance, he sicks a techno-soldier called Airbuster on them and escapes via helicopter. Later in the game, President Shinra is found impaled by a large sword that's blamed on Sephiroth. His son, Rufus, takes over. And really, we're mostly including him on this list for naming his son Rufus. President Adam Benford, Resident Evil 6. President Benford was, by all accounts, actually a pretty good guy. In addition to being president, he also recruited series hero Leon into the Division of Security Operations years ago, and the two were close friends. Sadly, in a bioterror attack involving the C virus, President Benford was infected with the virus and mutated into a zombie, which really isn't very presidential. And then Leon had to shoot him in the head, which is even worse. President George Sears, Metal Gear Solid 2. Also known as Solidus Snake, President Sears turned out to be a clone of Big Boss, and then he led a terrorist takeover of the Big Shell facility while posing as Solid Snake. Confused? Yeah, welcome to the club. Finally, he's defeated in a battle with Raiden when his exoskeleton is destroyed. So, sometimes there are happy endings. President Abraham Reyes, Red Dead Redemption. This son of a rich family actually starts out with a lot of promise. He becomes a revolutionary guerrilla leader against the Mexican army and General Ignacio Sanchez. He even saves John Marston from being executed. But Reyes eventually becomes president and, instead of being a good guy, he turns into a tyrannical leader, starving his people, executing protesters, and using all that money just to build a big palace. President Crypto, Destroy All Humans. President Crypto was the prototypical villain president, seizing the office after he masterminded an alien invasion of the United States and stole the body of President Huffman. Not cool, dude. The weird thing is, many people in the game still recognize Crypto as president, even when he's not in disguise. Either the NPC AI needs a little bit of work, or these are really uneducated voters. President Elizabeth Winters, Vanquish. Proof that being a terrible president isn't restricted to any one gender, Elizabeth Winters secretly works with Russian extremists who use solar power to blow up San Francisco. Honestly, if San Francisco had to go, I think they'd be happy that it was at least done in an eco-friendly way. Turns out the conflict between the US and Russia was actually just a plot between Winters and a Russian leader to start a war as a stimulus package. Like you do. George W. Bush, Deus Ex Human Revolution. Yes, You heard that right. Apparently, the designers weren't big fans. In some concept art for the game, there's actually a wanted poster for George W. Bush at the Detroit police station for the game. The crime? Mass murder. Ouch. President Bill Clinton, NBA Jam. In what would become a regular tradition, Bill Clinton was an unlockable character in the very first 16-bit classic NBA Jam, and for many thereafter. Yes, even though the real Bill Clinton probably couldn't dunk a basketball to save his life, you could still play him on the court, even taking on other world leaders like Prince Charles of England in NBA Jam Tournament Edition. President Max. Sam and Max save the world. Look, Max is great, we like Max, but Max does not a good president make. In the first season of Telltale's episodic game, Sam and Max Save the World, he proves just that. After decapitating the previous president, who admittedly was an actual puppet created to hypnotize Americans, Max ends up in the running for the presidency against an animated statue of Abraham Lincoln. Now it's up to Sam and Max to win instead by replacing Abe's speech cue card to make our national hero look bad, even if he is really an animated statue on a quest to hypnotically enslave the free world. Next thing you know, President Max is building an army of giant battle robots and very nearly destroying the internet before all was set right. Who's your pick for very worst video game president of all time? Who got left off this list? Let us know in the comments. And for all the most up-to-date information about what your video game presidents are getting up to these days, make sure you like this video and subscribe to The Know.
They've penetrated our outer perimeter.
What?
According to reports, Shadow's also been sighted with the black aliens.
Shadow? I don't believe it.
So he's finally decided to show himself. Attention all command units.